He walked on stage like this was his last day on earth. That specific energy only poor Filipino survivors have, that silent, if this doesn't work, I don't know what else is left, type energy. He wasn't trying to look funny. He wasn't trying to look like a character. He wasn't trying so hard to impress. He looked like someone who came from a neighborhood where humor is the only thing that protects you from depression. His shirt was simple cheap local brand. His jeans were worn thin. His shoes were maybe third hand already. The type of broke you can see from 20 feet away. You could literally feel how the whole arena underestimated him instantly. Everyone's brain automatically filed him under, just another poor small comedian who will probably bomb in 30 seconds. Even Simon Cowell had that micro smirk ready. But the twist with this boy, was that this boy wasn't there to gain attention. He was there to talk to the world the way no one allowed him to talk before. He adjusted the microphone with shaking hands, heart beating so heavy he could hear it echo inside his own head. He took one tiny breath and delivered the first joke like a dagger disguised as comedy. The arena exploded. People didn't just laugh, they snapped into shock laugh. Simon sat up a little straighter. He did not expect that level of timing, depth, rhythm, pain disguised as timing. The comedian wasn't throwing random jokes. He was performing surgery. His entire life story was being sliced into micro punchlines that landed with surgical precision. And the judges instantly recognized something rare was happening right in front of them. Someone who is broken, but that brokenness has turned into a superpower. You could feel every single person in the arena shift from judgment to attachment. And in the middle of it, he realized for the first time maybe he belonged here. He kept going and every punchline was a mirror into Filipino survival culture. Jokes about hunger. About having to choose between riding a jeepney or buying food. About laughing during pain because crying only makes it worse and nobody can afford therapy. The audience roared, but this was not superficial laughing. This was the type of laughing that feels like soul therapy. Even Simon had his arms crossed differently now. He was no longer evaluating. He was feeling. The comedian paused in the middle because for a brief moment the reality of what was happening hit him too hard. He never performed in front of thousands. He never performed in front of Simon. He never performed with cameras and international broadcast. He was used to performing in cheap barangay events on borrowed mic system just to earn enough cash to bring home food. Suddenly this was no longer just an audition. This was the moment that separates who he used to be, versus who he might become. Then he dropped the emotional nuclear line. His father died overseas when he was 9, not because he wanted adventure, but because poverty forced him to fight in a foreign land with no safety. The entire arena froze silent. You could literally feel thousands of hearts stop at the same time. Simon swallowed hard and his voice shook for 1 second because he felt the truth. The comedian then said that comedy wasn't a hobby. Comedy saved his life. Comedy was the only medicine he could afford. That sentence alone hit Simon harder than anything all season. He didn't laugh now. He slowly nodded like he finally understood the assignment of what comedy can really be. The judges didn't even breathe for the last 15 seconds of the audition. And in that silence, a poor Filipino comedian who the world laughed at his entire life, finally made the world laugh with him, and then feel everything he carried alone. He didn't understand how big everything was becoming while it was happening. He just stood there inside the stage light, not realizing his entire life path was rewriting in real time. His knees were weak and adrenaline was ripping through his body so fast that he felt his hands vibrating. Every joke he told wasn't technique. It wasn't written in fancy clubs. It wasn't rehearsed in Hollywood writing rooms. Every joke was born from nights where he cried alone and covered his pain by making himself laugh, because sometimes laughing is the only way to not break. He kept telling his story through punchlines like they were flashbacks. When he told the final line, "The world already made me cry enough, now it's finally my turn to make the world laugh back," that line wasn't just a joke. It was a declaration of finally taking power back from a world that walked over him since he was born. The entire arena responded like a bomb detonated emotionally. The standing ovation was instant. The audience didn't even think. Their bodies reacted before their minds did. People stood up violently. Some screamed. Some clapped like they wanted their palms to bleed. The crew audio meters were almost clipping from pure human reaction. Simon stood up slow. He held his face and you could see he was holding back tears and laughter at the same time because for the first time in years something truly original in comedy happened in front of him. He was stunned that a poor Filipino comedian with no formal training somehow created the most emotionally layered comedic audition he had ever seen. The host backstage ran out because she couldn't watch this moment behind monitors anymore. This wasn't TV. This was soul to soul and everybody felt it. The comedian dropped to his knees overwhelmed. He wasn't used to applause. He wasn't used to love this loud. He wasn't used to feeling worthy. Judges all looked at each other without talking because they all knew something extremely rare just happened and it didn't need explanation. One judge wanted to slam the golden buzzer immediately, but before she could even move, Simon stepped forward first. You could see his face shift into father-like pride. This was not the normal Simon, this was good reaction. This was Simon saying this kid deserved every validation Earth denied him his entire life. He reached forward and slammed the golden buzzer with force. The confetti exploded downward like heaven opened a portal only for him. It didn't fall like decoration. It fell like redemption. It felt like every rejection letter he ever experienced was now turning into approval falling all over his body. His legs gave out and he fell down screaming and crying and laughing in the exact same moment. All the pain from childhood, from being broke, from being invisible, from having no safety, from being the funny kid because it was safer than being the sad kid, all of that ripped out of his chest. This wasn't a golden buzzer for a comedian. This was a golden buzzer for every Filipino kid who used jokes to hide pain because emotional pain is heavier than any physical suffering. Simon walked onto the stage. He didn't do his usual TV mentor handshake. He hugged him like real human to real human. That hug told the comedian, "You are not forgotten anymore." The arena became pure emotional earthquake. People were crying real tears. Judges covered their faces. Cameramen were shaking from trying to stay professional while the most unforgettable comedy audition in AGT Philippines history happened right in front of them. Golden confetti stuck to his face while he cried. He tried to talk but words couldn't come out. He looked up into the confetti rain and you could see clearly, this was the moment his entire life finally changed course. He wasn't a random struggling comedian anymore. He wasn't a neighborhood punchline. He wasn't a meme for being broke. He was now a golden buzzer winner. He was history. That night the internet did not just react, it detonated. The golden buzzer clip became the fastest Filipino comedian video to spread globally. TikTok Philippines was in full meltdown within 3 hours. Edits started, remixes started, dramatic music overlays started, slow-motion cry versions started, emotional bass-boosted edits started. YouTube Shorts algorithm caught the clip and shoved it to USA, Brazil, Mexico, Indonesia, Korea, India. Subtitles and auto-edits in different languages started within the first 12 hours. Not one singer clip did numbers like this in that same week. It was comedy that hit deeper than singing because pain and humor is instantly universal. Every country understands pain even if they don't understand the exact words. News channels started posting about this audition saying Simon hasn't reacted this emotionally in years. People started messaging that this one audition was the first time they had seen comedy not used as nonsense, but used as real emotional connection, real trauma storytelling, real art. People from his old street in Tondo who never ever supported him suddenly became proud, claiming they always knew. His neighbors who once laughed at him for being only funny were now sharing his clip saying, "This is our boy, this is our representation." His mother watched the replay on a small Sorry store TV and fainted crying because she saw her son finally receiving confetti instead of rejection. Every sacrifice was worth it now. His late father was suddenly appearing in every comment thread as people said, "He is watching you now." For the first time ever, he was not the poor funny kid from the broken neighborhood. He was the man who made the world lean forward. And every young Filipino kid who uses humor to survive secretly started believing maybe they can also break through without singing, without dancing, without being rich. Comedy finally got a crown moment. For the next week he didn't even sleep normal. He spent nights crying in disbelief. He went from nobody to global viral cross-country emotional figure because he didn't try to pretend. He told the world his pain honestly and people reacted like they had been waiting for this kind of voice. And now AGT Pilipinas officially called him and told him schedule for semi-finals was confirmed. That moment he realized this isn't the end of the miracle. It was just the beginning. The semi-finals wasn't just another stage. This stage will decide if he is a one-time viral moment or a permanent force in world entertainment. And this time, he wasn't preparing to prove he is worthy. Golden Buzzer already proved that. This time he was preparing to prove comedy deserves respect like music receives respect. He wanted to show that pain turned into jokes is not cheap. It is art with blood inside it. He started writing new material not from insecurity now, but from purpose. He wanted to represent all the invisible funny broken kids who learned how to survive depression by making themselves laugh at night when nobody saw them. He wrote jokes about schools never understanding funny kids are actually wounded kids. He wrote jokes about sadness pretending to be humor because sadness is easier to disguise than fear. He wrote jokes about how every poor Filipino comedian is a therapist without license and without pay. He rehearsed not to impress Simon, but to speak to the millions who felt abandoned. The semi-final night, he planned to close with a final emotional punchline that will make the entire world understand that comedy is just pain wearing a costume, but it deserves standing ovation just as much as singing power notes. He walked toward this next chapter with new strength inside. He knew one thing now, he wasn't invisible anymore. The world finally saw him. And now millions are waiting to see what he does next. The finale is not a dream now. The finale is now a target locked in destiny. And the world will never laugh the same way again after what this Filipino comedian will bring next.